belik catut, pergi nonton berduaan. Aduh emas sakitnya, nonton dua-duaan.
This idea of cinematic reenactment is quite unique. Where did you get this idea from?
Well, I think that first of all, it arose very much organically. That the reenactment process arose very much organically from what I was filming. So when I started filming with the perpetrators, they were all eager to boast about what they did. They were all virtually falling over each other to tell me what they did, to take me to the places where they killed. I didn't have to convince them to tell me what they did. I didn't have to convince them to open up to me. I would simply meet an old man and I say, "What did you do for a living?" And within a minute, I would get the most terrible stories of killing, because the killing was the most meaningful thing these people had ever done. And it was the event that shaped the rest of their lives after that. So they would want to talk about it. And they'd want to justify it, partly because the state was celebrating them as heroes, and partly because by justifying it to me, they reassure themselves, I guess, that it was okay. So I was finding killer after killer being open. From the first perpetrator I met, I then filmed every perpetrator I could find across the region and up the chain of command until I reached the city of Medan, where I met Anwar. Anwar was the 41st killer that I filmed. So the main character of the act of killing, I'd already filmed 40 perpetrators by the time I met him. And all of them were inviting me to the places where they killed, just like you see Anwar do at the beginning of the film, showing me how they went about it. After reenacting it, they would complain that they hadn't thought to bring friends along to play victims or machetes along to use as props. So the method, the idea that if I let them reenact what they have done and I film the process, I can understand two basic questions of the imagination. One, how they want to be seen, and two, how they really see themselves. That idea evolved as I was filming killer after killer after killer boasting, and I came to be aware that the most important story here is not necessarily what happened 40 years ago, but rather what's happening now that these men feel they can boast. What is the function of their boasting? Why are they boasting? How do they want me to see them? How do they want the world to see them? And how really do they see themselves?
Mereng lah sana deh. Ini perasaannya yang mesti diperagakan. Beginilah caranya supaya jangan darah itu terlalu banyak, tahu kan? Jadi saya menghilangkan itu, saya usahakan dengan musik enak, saya bisa nari, iya kan? Bisa happy, caca. Aneh ya.
At the beginning of the act of killing, we see all these men boasting about what they did, seeming to be proud of what they've done. And we see this and we think these men feel no remorse. They feel they feel no guilt. It's that their boasting is a symptom of their lack of remorse. It's a sign that they feel no remorse. And I would say it's exactly the opposite, or it turns out to be exactly the opposite. Because if any of us had killed, I'm not saying we would, but if we did, and if we still had open to us the opportunity to justify it, because we weren't caught or the government told us it was right, we could still justify it, we would. Because the alternative is that you have to wake up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror and see a murderer. So if you can justify killing, you will. Every human being will.